Okay, welcome back to exercises about the k and the parabolas and how this affects and the parabola and what we need to do for k. Right, so this question, we've been given the parabola, an equation and a drawing, and we've been asked for what values of k will f of x equal k will have non-real roots. Now this is important. You always need to highlight what they're asking you. Otherwise, you're going to get confused. So you need to make sure you understand the first thing is what are they asking you? They're asking you for what values of k will this equation become something that has non-real roots. Okay, so how are we going to do? What are we going to shift this thing by? Remember, we're just shifting up and down. So we can see that this thing is now at -9. Okay, which means that we already have two unequal distinct real roots, but we want non-real roots. We know that to have non-real roots, we need to have a parabola that has no x intercepts. So that means we need something here, like maybe up there. Okay, it needs to not touch the x-axis. So how are we going to shift this graph so that it does not touch the x-axis? Well, we see that if we shift this thing up by 9, so if we add 9 to this function, we will get it to a point where it's sitting here at 1. So basically it's going to sit something like that. Okay, and it's going to be something like that. But now the problem, that means it's still going to have one solution. So we can see that anything, if we shifted more than 9 upwards, what's going to happen? It means that this thing is going to be now above there, which is exactly what we want. Okay, so we need to shift this thing more than 9 units upwards. And how do we do that? Let's look at the equation. So if we said, let's choose something greater than 9, so let's choose 10. So if we said x minus 1 squared minus 9 equals 10, because remember now 10 is k, so this is now, I'm just showing you. If we take the 10 over, you see we need to make the 10 negative, because if we take it over, it's going to become negative, so it needs to be a negative here, so it needs to be negative 10, because we need to shift it up, hey, not down. So let's just make sure we're doing that. So minus 10. So if we take it over, it becomes, x squared minus 1, x minus 1 squared minus 9 plus 10 equals 0. Now you can see that now the adding of the 10 means that it shifts this thing up by 10 units. Okay. Which means that the k value needs to be a negative value because we're going to take it over the equation. So we're going to say that, okay, any values of k that are less than -9 will always give me something that is non-real. Because if you shift it up by -10, -11, it's going to go over the equal sign and it becomes positive. So that means it'll be shifting up by 10 units, up by 11 units. So the statement that you want to give in your answer is this one. K must be less than -9. Okay. All right. I hope that makes sense.